Hey guys, Paul here. So today I wanted to talk kind of about the ups and downs of introducing new people to Yu-Gi-Oh in 2022. So this is obviously a very broad topic and it's not really something that I'm going to be going into extreme detail on today, although I would like to maybe make a video that kind of encompasses more of the actual process of doing that. But I just want to talk about some of the things that I've seen because recently I've been in the position of actually helping a couple of friends or just sort of people I know try to play Yu-Gi-Oh. They've been interested. They found out that like, oh, Paul makes content about this and does it for a living, so I want to play this Yu-Gi-Oh game. And the first question that I actually got was sort of like, okay, what product do you get someone? So that's where we'll start. And I hate to say it, but I don't know that Yu-Gi-Oh has a really great beginner product in the game right now. There's sort of one that I'll get to in a second, but I realized that Yu-Gi-Oh actually has not had a starter deck in years, I think. I mean, I remember they had like the Link starter decks, like Link Strike and those decks, and those were sort of supposed to be like introductory starters. I also remember like a decade or two ago when Yu-Gi-Oh would just do almost yearly starter decks. Like there was like Starter Deck 2008 or Starter Deck 2009, and these weren't structures. Like these were just starter decks. They just had like introductory cards and introductory like kind of game mechanics. Typically, they'd have simple, easy to use cards that just sort of were like play and profit. You have Cyber Dragon, Dust Tornado, Exiled Force. Those are just the cards that kind of come to mind. And I think that these are really effective for teaching new players. The thing is, we don't really have a starter deck 2022. And I think that's something that Konami really should try to make. I think it would be a lot of fun. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is very complicated, and that's another issue. But I think that just the fact that there's not a safe like beginner product to just purchase or recommend to somebody is a bit of a shortcoming. But one really cool thing and a product that I think is doing like really well for that is the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Speed Duel Battle Box. I I have my gripes with it, like the fact that it's not exactly like TCG Yu-Gi-Oh. So, playing speed duels is fun. I like speed duels. I'm a huge speed duel fan. So I'm not saying speed duels are bad or anything. You guys know I like that. I've talked about it a lot. It's just the fact that like while it is a great way to kind of it's like a form of training wheels for Yu-Gi-Oh. It is a little bit weird that it's the best introductory product, but it doesn't actually teach you really how to play the main game. There's no extra monster zones. We know that's like a really big aspect of things. Deck building is I mean, I like the simplified approach to deck building and strategy, but again, when you actually are thrown into the deep end with like 40 to 60 card decks, not like 20 to 30 card decks, and like large extra decks and like side decking and just everything else, you'll still feel a bit lost. But I have to give my props still to the product itself. It's a lot of fun. We actually made a video where we played with it, and it's a good product. I think it's the closest Yu-Gi-Oh's got to a starter deck right now. The next problem I think with getting somebody into Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of finding a like a good way to explain the rules. How to put this? Explaining the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh is not hard. I think that gets a bad rap. People like to say Yu-Gi-Oh's got a bazillion, gajillion different rules and it's impossible to teach. I disagree. I think Yu-Gi-Oh can actually be taught pretty effectively. Monsters, spells, and traps are pretty simple to grasp. Attack points and the way that battle and stuff works is, I would say, pretty simple to grasp. The different types of spells and traps, like quick play or continuous, are pretty easy to grasp. There's obviously nuances. I'd say like the hardest thing that like is chains maybe can be a little bit difficult at times. Although even then, like I think chains work in a pretty simple way. It's just that like the hardest part about chains is kind of when like different things are trying to stack on the chain at once, and then when like something will get summoned in the middle of a chain, and then it's a next effect will activate on a new chain. That's where I noticed that I kind of start to lose people. It's just like them not understanding those sorts of things. But actually resolving a chain backwards is pretty easy. So, but anyways, back to kind of what I was originally saying is it's just tough to know exactly where to start. I feel like the rulebook kind of doesn't really help. In fact, I've noticed that they've stopped including rulebooks with anything. Maybe that goes back to the whole thing of us not having starter decks anymore. But obviously, you can look up the rulebook online, so that's fine. It's sometimes nice though to have like a physical rulebook, just present with you, just like in case you're trying to teach someone something, they can kind of quickly look it up and visualize it. So that's, I actually wish, and this is like a small thing, but I wish that they would make the playmats that actually teach, like that have like the zones, on them, like not the zones, the phases, like the phases on them with kind of like quick tidbits, like this is the standby phase, and you go to the main phase. It's little, but again, it's one of those things that can make teaching Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit hard. Is like kind of differentiating between like main phase 1 and main phase 2 and like kind of what those mean. The transition between like draw phase to standby phase to main phase. Again, I know like a lot of you guys watching this, we've all played Yu-Gi-Oh for super long. This all is like more than second nature to us. But I'm just highlighting things that when I'm teaching people, these are the things that tend to like trip them up. It's really not the extra deck stuff, at least not yet. It's really more of like some of these fundamental rules. So I think that would be a really, really cool thing for Konami to do. Let's see. There's like one other kind of major bit that I sort of wanted to talk about. I guess it's the fact that like when it comes to actual rulings, Yu-Gi-Oh is a little bit lacking. So we don't really have like a rulings database. I think that there's supposed to be one in the OCG. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But I've always felt that Konami needs to add like a rulings database of just sort of when a ruling goes out or something, that should sort of become like a precedent of some kind. I know like when you go to regionals and YCS events, and I guess technically it even works this way at locals, there's like, like the judges and there's like the head judge. So if you get a ruling from a judge, you can appeal it and the head judge gives a ruling, and the head judge's ruling is what applies for like that event. And I get why they have to do that. Obviously some rulings are really pretty open-ended, and this allows judges to kind of have that final say for the event that they're head judging. I just think that it would be nice if things could just be concrete and could be like archived, so a player could type in a card and find all relevant rulings that have to do with that card, or specific situations could sort of be like listed out. Because again, when a player has picked up the grasp of Yu-Gi-Oh, the basics and the fundamentals, sometimes these little weird ruling things will pop up, and like it's just tough to tell somebody, you're gonna have to go to this Facebook group to find this, or you're gonna have to kind of like just ask around, and like someone will say, and it just doesn't feel like Konami themselves like approves a certain ruling, but rather you're just going off of what you hear. So that's, that's not great. But anyways, there's one other, so those are like the pitfalls of like teaching someone, and I've kind of talked a little bit about the product stuff. I think that the last major thing that Yu-Gi-Oh could probably use, and it's not to say that like it's doing an awful job of this, obviously there's a lot of people doing a great job of this, but like I sometimes find that it's tough for people to actually get information, which sounds weird, like, but what I mean is, so Yu-Gi-Oh has social media pages. There's like Facebook and a Twitter page, the official Yu-Gi-Oh pages, and obviously there's like loads of Yu-Gi-Tubers who will, talk about new products and stuff when they come out. I just sometimes feel like it would be neat if there was a more direct way to get news. Like, there's the Yu-Gi-Oh Neuron app. I wish that it could do like notifications, or maybe it does this, but I haven't seen them. Notifications that like let you know like when a new product is releasing, like a new product, like Dimension Force releases this week, or like, the ban list was just updated, because I can't count the number of times that like I just get questions in the comments. I get DMs from people. People in real life just straight up don't know when products are releasing, don't know where they can go to play, don't know these things. And I can tell them, all day long, but it's just, I sometimes think that maybe more ways of getting that information out to people would be good. I'm not blaming Konami entirely for this. There's a limit to like how much you can really do, but I just think that these would be nice things to have. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. Hopefully you guys maybe can like let me know down in the comments, when you're teaching someone how to play or introducing the game to people, what is your typical approach with that? And also, what do you guys think of the sort of troubles that I've expressed in this video? How should I maybe go about them? Because like I said, I am currently teaching some people Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought I'd maybe trying to turn it into a bit of a video, but we'll see if that happens. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.